Hello and welcome to another episode of Telling Stories. I am your host, Christopher Schultz, and I am a historian, media critic, and news junkie. Today is a very important topic. We are taking aim at gun control. Pew, 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 pew. Just in case anybody thinks I might be shooting from the hip on this topic, I should probably explain something to you. For starters, I was born and raised with guns around. I had an air rifle as a kid. My grandfather, who was a war veteran, taught me how to shoot. And I even spent some time in the infantry. That handsome fellow right there, that's me. So just in case anybody was wondering about my credentials, I don't come from a place of kind of civilian prudishness, but rather from a place of recognizing the extreme danger that firearms present to untrained people. Now, why are we talking about firearms? Well, I think that the answer is pretty obvious. There's been yet another mass murder in the United States, 355 of them this year in only 315 days. And these are mass shootings. We're not even talking about the number of suicides, the individual homicides. For some perspective on this, the United Kingdom only has about 150 murders every year. Period. Now, it should probably come as no big surprise that the vast majority of people who want to see guns deregulated are coming from the libertarian right wing of the political spectrum. Now, you've all heard this before. It's not bad guns, it's bad people who do the killing. Baloney. Guns kill people. They are far more fatal, vastly more dangerous than any other type of weapon out there, with the exception of maybe nuclear armaments. And I don't see a lot of libertarians arguing in favor of those things being legal for everyone. Now, I speak from the perspective of a Canadian on this subject. Canadians have very strict gun laws. Whenever there's an incident in the United States, Canadians also react very strongly to these things. We wonder why the heck the United States doesn't have similarly restrictive gun access and purchasing laws as we have in Canada. And this is a totally legitimate concern in my mind. We have very few gun murders, and that's just a fact. But something that our libertarian right likes to remind us is that our gun laws don't actually affect our gun murder rate. Now, a favorite study that libertarians in Canada like to quote is a study that was done in 2007 by a medical doctor named Langdons. Now, Langdons came to a conclusion that it was not our stricter gun laws, which started in about 1977. By the way, that completely ignores the fact that in 1934 we restricted handguns, and in 1951 we also restricted automatic weapons. In any case, Langdons' conclusions are that our laws didn't actually change much. Our rate of declining murders through firearms actually had more to do with demographic questions. So the fact that young men were getting older and in theory mellowing out, the fact that there was better employment opportunities, and the fact that there was less poverty. These are all actually very good reasons. And frankly, they're reasons why the United States probably still has a lot of problems. If you look at the places where gun violence is highest, they tend to be the poorest places. If you don't have access to good economic prospects, the odds that you will have to take on criminal behavior to get by are much higher, and that tends to require protection of a different sort. But what's funny about all this, of course, is the fact that the libertarian right wing in both countries seems to be advocating for socialism. If you want to deregulate guns, but you want to bring the murder rate down, clearly what you need to do is provide better economic opportunities, less poverty, more social infrastructure, more support. One of the challenges, of course, is that libertarianism in both Canada and the United States tends to go hand in hand with reduced social spending alongside more lax gun laws. So at a certain point, pro-gun advocates are going to have to admit that if they actually sincerely want to bring the murder rate down, they're going to have to deal with socialist principles that gives more people the opportunity to succeed in life rather than having to shoot it out in some kind of anarchist Wild West scenario. But then the issue that we have to ask is, what are you protecting yourself from at that point? They have a house of their own. They don't need your stuff. Now, before I go, I just want to make it clear that I am not suggesting for even a second that we reduce the restrictions in Canada's gun laws. That would be crazy talk. Because what our gun laws do is they slow everything down. There is one universal fact about murders, and it's that young men tend to commit murders. Young men need to be reminded to slow down. Just ask their sexual partners. But the fact is, if you can take that impulsiveness and hot-headedness out of the equation, it's not a bad thing. There is nothing that says that our gun laws haven't worked in association with all these other things that could make somebody hot-headed, steamed, and angry at the world. So thanks for checking in. This has been Telling Stories. I'm Christopher Schultz. If you like this content, you might want to check out some of my other videos. You can subscribe right here, or you can subscribe below. I'll see you around, and take care.